Hey everybody, it's Captain Shane, and today I'm going to be doing something that I like to do every month or so, and it's going to be a full tutorial flight. So I'm going to go over everything from as if this aircraft is cold and dark like it is. We're going to set up the cockpit, we're going to do our flight planning, we're going to do all of our briefs, we're going to fly the plane, land it, everything. This is for all the new MD-11 pilots out there that want to learn something new. And I can just reference this video and just watch what I do. If you guys have been flying the MD-11s for a while, you won't get a lot of value out of this, but we're still going to fly down from Portland to Ontario, and I love Portland. The Pacific Northwest, this area is one of my favorite parts of the country, so this should be fun. I'm just going to do my thing, and you guys can watch it however you want. So we're going to start off with cold and dark, and we're going to start this tutorial right now. So here's where we're presented. We're sitting in the cockpit of the MD-11. It's dark. I got my X checklist that I've made over here on the left, and if you want one, come to my Discord and I'll send it to you. Let me know in the comments. I'll give it to you. But we're going to start from scratch. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to turn on the electronic flight bag, which is here. Then we're going to go over to home and select parked with external power.
Autopilot.
There you go. It's on now. Okay. Next I'm going to go and release the parking brake because we don't need to have the parking brake set if the chocks are in. Okay. Gear handle. On my particular setup here with my Honeycomb Bravo, it defaults to having the gear in this weird condition, so I have it on my checklist to make sure that it's down and locked. So it is now down and locked. Okay, the next thing I'm going to do, and this is specific to my virtual airline, is I'm going to start my ACAR system. And if you're just flying by yourself and you're not in a VA or anything like that, you can skip this step. It's just something that I do so I don't forget. So I come over here and I click fly this flight. So now it's running in the background and I don't have to think about it again. We're going to be on VATSIM, and we're going to need to enter the route. We'll come back to that. Now, it's not on my checklist, but the next thing I'm going to do is turn on XPilot. And I already know what my flight number is going to be because I got it from my website, UPS 3511, and I'm going to click connect to VATSIM because I fly online only. Oh, speaking of the devil, it looks like we're going to have some ATC here. So PDX Tower is online. That's fun. We'll have a little bit of ATC when we leave here. Cool. We'll leave that in the background for now and we'll deal with it later. Next, we're going to go ahead and do our APU and engine fire handle test, or fire test. Okay, so I'm going to click this button here and hold it. We're going to hold it until we get all three engines reporting fire.
Engine 3, fire.
Okay, that's done. Next, we're going to do our annunciator and air system test. So I'm going to click this button over here, the test, and I'm going to make sure all my digits and lights work.
Overspeed. Overspeed.
Okay, I'm looking around, making sure everything's lit up.
Overspeed.
You hold it for about 12 seconds, and it also initiates
Overspeed.
an air system test.
Overspeed.
And if you want to watch that happening, you can go over to air, and you'll see we have a test system running in the background. And it's initiated when you hold the annunciator lights test for 12 seconds or so. Okay? While that's going on, we're going to go up back to the overhead, and we're going to turn on our IRSs. And when you do that, it initiates a cargo fire test. 1, 2, 3. Watch this. And we want to see cabin smoke, fire detection. That's all good to go. Okay? Next thing we're going to do is you'll go back to the overhead, flip this guarded switch down, and click the hydraulic pressure test. Close the guard. Then I'm going to come down here to the system display and click it on hydraulics, and you'll notice that the hydraulic pressure test is operating. This is going to run through the hydraulic system controller, the aux pumps, and the RMPs and make sure everything's working. And if it passes, this will eventually go away and you won't even hear anything else about it. If it fails, it will tell you that hydraulic pressure test has failed and tell you why so you can troubleshoot it. But we're going to let that run in the background. Okay, now we're going to go back to our overhead. Per our checklist, we're going to flip the emergency power switch to arm. When you do that, it's going to initiate an emergency power test. Just let it do its thing. Emergency lights to arm. Windshield defog on. Logo lights and nav lights, make sure they're on. And in that case, logo lights should say on, nav light should say nothing. If it says off, then it's off. The default is on. No smoking and seatbelt signs. There we go. Those are on. Now down to the center part here, and we're going to click this button to uncage our standby ADI. Next, we're going to do our takeoff warning test, and that's going to be move engine 1 throttle, full forward.
Stabilizer.
Listen for the enunciations. Okay. Now we're going to do engines 2 and 3 together.
Stabilizer. Flat.
Okay, takeoff warning test is complete. Now we're going to set up our EIS panel. So here's how I do it. I do traffic data, VOR 1 and 2, VOR 1 and 2. I'm going to put this one, click this to weather, turn it all the way over for full bright. Leave this on Wixer because I'm going to be pilot flying in the left seat. On the right seat, we're going to do, leave it on terrain. So the pilot not flying should be on terrain, and the pilot flying should be on weather. So we're going to turn that up all the way. That's done. And then after that's all set, I'm going to click this one on plan and leave this one on map. Okay, weight and balance. Now we need to get into some flight planning stuff. So let's talk about flight planning. This is how I do mine. I love SimBrief. It's a great website. And I have a subscription to Navigraph for my AirX and all that stuff. But let's go ahead and go over the flight planning right now. So we got a new flight. We're going to type in our flight number that we want, 3511. Departure is KPDX. Oops. KPDX. Going to K Ontario. I'll let it pick an automatic alternate. I'm going to load up the aircraft that I've already built in the system for this. This is just the default tail number. The actual tail number for us today is November 258, Uniform Papa. Alright. I'm going to leave all the rest of this blank. I'm going to leave all that blank. We'll confirm these... oops. Alright. Let's confirm these runways. So I'm going to take a look, and if there's any ATIS, which there is for VATSIM, we're going to see ILS 10 and 10 right approaches in use. Departing runways 10 left and 10 right. So right off the bat, we know we have an issue with this runway selection. So instead of 28 left, we're going to use 10 right. Do we want to select a new SID and start for this? Yes, we do. Because for whatever reason... Portland is operating in a different runway configuration than what Navigraph thought it was. Okay, arrival runway, we're going to check here. ILS RNAV in use, runway 26 right, departing 26 right. This says 26 left is closed. It actually isn't, but hey, we're going to go with what it says for now. And we're going to go ahead and select 26 right because the ATIS that we have in Ontario is saying that it's only 26 right. I thought they'd already fixed 26 left, but whatever. That's why we check it first, right? Okay, that's all done. This is a tentative course. I'm going to copy and paste this. Then I'm going to click Generate Flight. Okay, and now we have a flight that's generated. Now, remember how I copied and pasted that? That's going to be specific to my ACAR system. I'm going to be putting the route in here and moving it off to the other side of the screen because I want to have that in there. So that's done. Before we leave this screen, we're going to go down to Prefile on a network, and I'm going to go down to VATSIM and click Prefile. And it's going to grab everything off of Navigraph and put it in here. And I like to add a couple other comments, like I do this just for some flair, Ontario-based flight crew, and I put my VA's website. This is entirely optional. You don't have to do this. Cool. And make sure everything else is right. Departure time is going to be 10 after. Let's call it 30 after, because that'll give us another extra time to get set up here. And then once that's done, I'm going to click File a Flight Plan. You hear that beeping, right? You know why? It's because the auto ATC for VATSIM has given us a message here. So it's telling us that there's no ATC online. Well, I guess our ATC left at PDX, whatever. We have no ATC, but this is our squawk code that we need to use, 1647. So before I forget, we'll come down to our transponder and type in 1647. Okay. So, back to weight and balance, right? Over here, we're going to go to our electronic flight bag and click weight and balance. But where do we get that information from? Well, I'll show you. We're done with this, and we're done with this. But I have a Navigraph subscription and I use Navigraph charts. So over here is Navigraph charts. This is the previous flight that I flew a couple days ago. I'm going to click up here and hit unload. Then I'm going to go import flight from SimBrief, which was the website I made my flight plan on. And I'm going to download it here. Boom. There's our flight plan. Now, I'm going to click here. Wow, that doesn't make any sense, does it? That's a 10-knot tailwind? See, it looks like they did us dirty here. So the VATSIM 8 had us going on the 10s, but now the real world stuff says it's on the 2.8s. So we can fix that. Let's fix that right now because that's not ideal. We're gonna switch this over to 2.8 left, and that's gonna change our routing. So that's fine. This actually favors the actual wind conditions. I don't know why VATSIM had us doing something else, but we can fix it, right? And we already know down here, we're probably going to be using the 2.6 right ILS. So I'm going to go ILS 2.6 right from Paradise. I'm going to add that to route. And there it is. Oh, that's RNAV. I don't want RNAV. I want ILS. There we go. ILS 2.6 right on the Ziggy 8 arrival. Good to go. Now, let's go over to SimBrief OFP. This is our flight plan, and this is where we're going to get a lot of our information for our weight and balance. So I'm going to scroll down here a bit. We're going to get our cargo weight, which is 177.4 thousand pounds. So I'm going to put that into here. 177,400, because that's what we're scheduled to take. And then over here we've got our fuel. So we got taxi fuel 2,000, trip fuel 33, and the block fuel, let's round it up to 59. So we're gonna do taxi fuel 2,000, trip fuel 33, and the trip fuel 33 down here, and the block fuel 59. Okay. Now I'm gonna click apply load configuration to aircraft and FMS. Boom. You see the aircraft shake a little bit. We just took on a bunch of cargo and fuel, and it's now loaded in. Okay? And a lot of this information is going to be populated into our FMC. So as far as weight and balance, we're now done. Okay? Now moving on to the checklist, weight and balance is complete. Now we're going to do our IRS initialization. So we're going to go down to our FMC. I'm going to click FMC. Going to go to flight plan initialize and click initialize IRS. Boom. All right? That's going to help it align and get all that stuff ready to go. Now we're going to do our FMC setup. So this is where it's going to get a little more involved here. And I'm just going to run it through it with you. So we're going to start with our departure, KPDX /KONT. I'm going to put that there. Our alternate from our flight plan is Las Vegas. I'm going to put that in right there. Our flight number is UPS 3511. That's going to go there. And going back to our flight plan, the cost index today is 91. So that's going to go here. And our initial altitude is 35,000 feet. So now we're going to go 350. Put that in there. Now this here is going to help you with fuel planning. So let's try to get it right. So if you look here, we have an ISA offset. Right. So this means that at 35,000 feet, today's weather conditions for us are going to be that the ISA is plus 10 from what the standard should be. And the wind component is 15 knots headwind along the route. So for temp here, we're going to go minus 44, which is minus 10 from the standard ISA temp. And we're going to go minus 15. Okay? That gives us a cruising outside air temperature of 44 and a headwind component of 15 across the entire flight. That's the average. And SimBrief and Navigraph give you that information for you. So this is set up. Next page, you'll notice that most of this is already filled out. I don't typically mess with the route reserve, but you can if you want to get into it more. For what we're doing, it's not necessary. Okay, refuel quantity, we're all done. So we're done with that. So the next thing I'm going to do is click on flight plan. And again, the flight plan is coming from here. Okay? We know our flight plan is this. PDX. Now, it's changed from 2.8, from 10 right to 2.8 because, I don't know, VATSIM ATC was losing their mind. But I'm going to be following this routing here. I'm going to have it on the right side of my screen. And I'm going to be doing it on the screen that you can see. So, because that way I can not clutter this thing. So from PDX, I'm going to click here. I'm going to click standard instrument departure. We're going to use the Cascade 2 from 2.8 left. And then the transition we're going to use is Kism. Wow. Why am I not? Oh, you know why? I think our flight plan has changed a bit. So let's see what the transition should be. Since we're now going, we're not taking the 10s, we're taking 2.8. So our transition should probably be, you know what? I don't even know. Let's, so I can figure this out right. Let's go back here. Back to SimBrief, and we're going to load up our old flight plan, and we're going to edit it. And we're going to change the departure runway to 2.8 left, so I get this right. Alright, so there's our new flight plan. Let's update it with the new routing. I'm going to hit Generate Flight. Alright, a little bit more fuel we need to take now. So we're going to fix this a little bit. Same cargo weight. And I'm going to go ahead and refile my flight plan on VATSIM since the routing has changed a little bit. Cool. So that's all been updated. Now, I'm going to copy this because it's changed a little bit. Come back over to my ACAR system. Correct it. So where is this Kism? Right here. Alright, whatever. Okay. For some reason, I'm not seeing a Kism on here. So we'll just leave it with no transition. Let's see if it defaults to that. So let's go Insert. And it does just go to Kism. Okay, so there was no additional transition from there. That's fine. You'll notice I have this on plan now because I like to follow along and make sure that there's no breaks in my flight plan. So after Kism, we're going to put in this flight plan here. So puts P-U-H-T-S. Oops. S. And after that, it's going to be PITV. P-I-T-V-E. That goes there. And now we're going to pick up an airway, the Q11. So to insert an airway into here, we're going to click on this point. I'm going to click Airways, and we're going to type in Q11, and that goes here. And then the transition from there is going to be push waypoint. P-U-S-H-H. And that's going to be where we exit the airway, and we're going to click Insert. And there it is. After push, we're going to go to TTE, which is a VOR. That's going to go here. And then from here, we're going to transition onto our arrival, which is the Ziggy 8. So I'm going to click here. I'm going to go to Star. I'm going to click Ziggy 8, TTE, and we're going to select the approach that we want. So I want to fly the ILS. So I'm going to scroll down here because you'll notice... Oh, bless you. There's a bunch of different approaches, right? These are visual approaches here. If it's got an I, it's ILS. R means it's an RNAV, right? There's all kinds of different approaches available, but I want the ILS 26 right. So I 26 right, select with the PETUS transition, and I'm going to insert that. And now I'm going to keep scrolling through here to make sure that this flight plan looks correct. All right, following along. I'm almost certain they're going to give us flavor at 14,000, so we're going to put that in here right now because I'm just used to flying this. And 14,000 at flavor is typically what they want you to do. And that's actually really good for helping you get in over the mountains safer. Okay, gonna keep scrolling around, and you'll notice that the approach that we put in also includes your missed approach that is automatically entered for you when you put in your correct approach. In this case, our missed approach is going to be flying to periodized VOR and entering a hold. And that's already pre-populated for you when you select the ILS approach. Okay? So right now our flight plan looks excellent. So last thing I'm going to do is click flight plan again to get us back to the first part of it. Okay? I'm happy that the flight plan is entered correctly. I'm going to go back to map now. FMC is not done yet because now we need to do our takeoff and approach stuff. So, now we need to fill out takeoff 28 left KPDX. We know we have a takeoff weight of 487.7. So I think we'll use a flex 45 for that. And by the way, if you don't know what to use, SimBrief can help you out. So you can go over here to takeoff performance. It already knows what your flight plan is going to be. So let's say we're using flaps 15. Full flex, engine anti-ice is going to be off. It knows the weather, it knows the temperature. Hit calculate, and it will give you a recommended flex temperature and V1 speeds that may differ a little bit from what FMC does. I don't need to do this. I'm going to just kind of wing it because this is a long runway and we have plenty of stuff, plenty of runway length. So I'm not concerned about takeoff performance at all. But you can't, if you don't know, you can use that. We're going to use flex 45. We'll use flaps 15 today. That's a good one for this weight. The slope of the wind, you can go calculate the slope of the runway if you want. I don't ever bother with it. And then here's your wind component here from Navigraph. It's a 9 knot headwind. So you're going to put 0 minus 9 because we have a 9 knot headwind. Your outside air temperature is here. Or you can get it from the ATIS, whatever you prefer. Let's just use 17. It's close enough. And boom, it's gonna give you the computer calculated V1, rotate, and V2 speeds. Right? You click them here, and it populates them on your primary flight display. These numbers are good enough. If you want to use SimBrief to get the actual perfect numbers, go ahead. This will get the job done for us today. I'm not gonna lose any sleep over that. So now that we're done with our FMC setup, as a pilot flying, I want to have the flight plan on the left, and I'm gonna put takeoff performance data on the right. That's how I like to set up my cockpit. I'll be sitting left seat today. So FMC is programmed for flight. And now I'm going to go over to my final cockpit preparation. I'm going to check my fuel quantity one last time. And remember, we need to make an adjustment here. We're going to take a little bit more fuel because we're flying the wrong direction. So we're going to add 1,000 pounds and reapply it to the aircraft. So now I'm going to check my fuel quantity by clicking the progress page and making sure that we have at least 20,000 or more here. I like to land with a 20,000 reserve. That's just the way I like to fly the MD-11. You do what you want, but I want at least 20 here. If it says less than 20, then I probably need to add some fuel. Okay? FMC check and confirm. It is checked. So it does say we need to check and confirm the V speed. So we're going to go here and update these real quick. Okay? Back to flight plan here. Back to takeoff here. So that's done. Flap takeoff selector. We're going to verify that the flap takeoff selector is set to 15. It's done. FCP airspeed up here. We want to make sure that we have the clean maneuvering speed entered in here. So in our case, it's 252. So we are going to have to fly a little bit faster than 250 knots below 10,000 feet because that's our minimum clean maneuvering speed with the flaps and slats up. Okay? FCP heading. So the heading that I'm going to put in here is the runway heading for takeoff. And where am I going to get that from? I'll show you. I'm going to go over to the Navigraph charts. And we're going to... well, let's do the overlay here. Watch. This is what we're going to be flying. And it says here, for runway 28 left, climb via heading 283 to 540 feet, then direct to Peg T, then on depicted route to Kism. So 283 is our initial heading for departure. I'm going to put that in here. Okay, FCP altitude. If we had some sort of altitude restriction by ATC, I would enter it here. We have no ATC at all right now, so I'm just going to go ahead and put in our planned cruising speed at this time. Still no ATC. Okay, that's done. Altimeters. So we're gonna go back over to Navigraph and confirm the weather here. 3021. Alright, so now we're gonna set our altimeters to 3021. 3021, and also on the standby down here. Okay. And auto brakes set to takeoff. That is the final cockpit preparation checklist complete. Okay, guys, we're looking pretty good here. So we're about ready to go ahead and get started up. So now we're going to go ahead and go status page to engine checklist. This is before start and pushback checklist. Engine. APU, we're going to start her up right now. So APU start. You'll notice that the APU indications come on your engine display over here. It's going to take about a minute or two for that to spool up. Doors and windows close and latch. So over to the EFP, and we're going to start closing up everything here. And you'll notice that all of our alerts for the doors and windows are off, right? They'd be under the miscellaneous page here. Okay, aux-hyd pump 1. Let's go ahead and turn on the auxiliary hydraulic pump. Now we're waiting for APU power to come on, and that's going to take about a few more seconds here. Hello, Sost. I'm saying your name right. While I'm waiting for the APU power to come on, I'm going to go ahead and get my desk set up for takeoff here. I'm going to move my Honeycomb Alpha and my Honeycomb Bravo throttles into position because they take up a lot of desk space, so I don't usually have them installed until it's time to go. So I got to give me a second here while I reconfigure my desk while we wait on the APU. Alright. Just tightening up some clamps here. Okay. Looks like APU power is ready, so let's go ahead and turn on APU power on. External power off. Okay, now we're going to go parking brake. We're going to set it because we have hydraulics on for brake pressure. And now we're going to go ahead and pull the wheel chucks and the ground power unit. We're going to turn on our beacon light. Okay. We're going to turn on our APU bleed, which is right here. And engine ignition, we're going to go ignition B today. And push start. We're just about ready. So, let's go ahead and call for our tug.
Ground to cockpit, please show me where you want to go.
Oh, nice. That'll work for us. So we're going to push back and tail to the east so we can taxi out of here. So let's go ahead and hit enter.
Ground to cockpit, tow is driving up.
Awesome. Well, while the tow is coming up... Oh, still flying the MD-11? Absolutely, man. Alright, while the tow is coming up, I'm going to go ahead and get a drink of water. And when I come back, we'll continue on with our checklist and get out of here.
Okay, all doors and hatches are closed, ready to connect.
Cool. I'm back. While we're waiting on the tug, let's get the CTAP frequency for PDX so we can talk to local traffic. 123.775. All right, so we're gonna put that in here. 123.775. 775. We'll put Unicom in the standby. We're going to turn on the radio and turn the volume all the way up and hit the mic on VHF1. So now we're set up there.
So connected and bypass pin inserted. Release parking brake.
Okay, let's make an announcement. PDX traffic, good afternoon, UPS 3511 heavy. Push to start at the cargo ramp and tail facing east. Portland. Alright, push to start clearance is good. Let's go ahead and release the parking brake. It's released.
Starting pushback, and you may start engines.
Okay, crew, we're clear for engine start. So, engine start goes like this. We're going to start 3, 1, 2. We're going to go button out, light on. We're going to look for our N2 indication here. Man, why does this look so... Hold on. Hold on, I want to fix something. That's a little better. Alright, so we have oil pressure on the rise. 15%, we're going to go fuel on. Oop, wrong button. Okay, fuel flow and EGT. Alright, we got a good start on engine number 3. Button in, light out. So let's go engine 1. Pull the button out, the light comes on. This is your starter valve. Got N2 coming up. We got oil pressure coming up. Okay, 15% is coming up. Let's go fuel on. Fuel flow, EGT. Okay, button in, light out. Okay, good start on engine number 1. Let's go engine 2. Button out, light on. Okay, N2. Oil pressure, let's go fuel on.
Operation complete. Set parking brake.
Hey, parking brake is set, and we have a good start on engine 2.
Disconnecting
Button and
tow.
light out.
Stand by.
Okay, after start checklist now. Engine and wing anti-ice is not required. We're not in freezing conditions. There's no ice out here. APU bleed, we're going to turn that off. APU, we're going to turn that off. And the ground signal, waiting on that.
Tow is disconnected and bypass pin has been removed. Hand signal will be on the left. We'll see you next time. Have a safe flight.
Okay, see you on the left. So we're going to wait for our tug to show up on the left-hand side here, and then we'll continue on with our taxi checklist. Alright, there's our hand signal on the left. We're good to go. Okay, so taxi checklist. Let's do flaps and slats. So we're going to go to flaps 15. Spoiler handle, we're going to arm that right here. Stab trim. We need 5.6 aircraft nose up. So I'm going to use the switches on my stick to set the stab trim. So we're gonna go 5.6, indicated right here. Okay, takeoff data. All right, so again, we need V1 of 139, VR 156, V2 167, which are all here, and our climb out speed will be 176 for V2 plus 10. Okay. Now takeoff departure briefing, real quick now. Hey, radio guy. Takeoff departure briefing is as follows. We're gonna fly the Cascade 2 RNAV departure from runway 28 left, and the instructions are climb heading 283 to 540 feet, then direct to Peg T, which is here, which is our first RNAV fix, then on depicted route to Kism. So, at Buenos, we need to be at 250 knots, no greater than 250 knots there. And there are no additional restrictions after Buenos, and we're going to fly it as stated. In the event of an engine failure at or below V1, we are going to stop on the runway, and if able, we're going to taxi back to the ramp here. If we have an engine failure at or above V1, we're going to continue. We're going to climb out at our V2 climb speed, and we're going to plan on coming back to runway 28 left or right, and landing back at PDX. All right, radar switch. We're going to set the tilt 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 or so. That'll be fine. Transponder. Oh, transponder right here. TARA. Nose light's not required, it's daylight. And status page, we're going to set to config. And taxi clearance. Portland traffic UPS 3511 heavy, taxi to runway 28 left. Portland. Alright. And then our taxi is going to be as follows here. We're going to taxi out to off the south ramp to Echo. And from Echo, we're going to make a right on Charlie and take that all the way down to 28 left. So, Echo, Charlie. So, we are ready for taxi. I'm going to go ahead and release the parking brake. Now I'm going to give her some thrust. We want no more than 40% N1 to get moving here. Okay. We're rolling. So real quick, we're going to do a nose wheel steering check. Left, right. And that's to make sure that our nose wheel steering is working. And then I'm going to just tap the brakes a little bit to make sure the brakes are working. There they are. Brakes check. I do that because I've had issues with my rudder pedals not actually working. They weren't connected, or there was a problem and I had no steering and no brakes. So I'd like to check that as soon as possible. Okay, flight control check. Now, that's what we have this up over here on the left. Let's do ailerons. So ailerons left, so we have 3 green boxes, right? Aileron right. 3 green. Elevator up. 3 green. 2 green. Elevator down. 2 green. Rudder left. 2 green. Rudder right. 2 green. Flight controls are checked free and clear. Alright, so we got a turn coming up here on Echo. So we need to tap the brakes a little bit because we don't want to be hitting this turn at 18 knots. We want to slow her down. So let's get her down to about 10 knots, at least 10 to 12 knots for the turn. And when we're there, we have to overshoot it a little bit. Because remember, the nose wheel is way behind the cockpit. And there we go. Alright, so on my before takeoff checklist, we can do a couple of these items right now. So, status page. Let's set it back to engine. We're going to check our engine and alert display. It is green box, which means we are properly configured for takeoff. Green box means good for takeoff. Exterior lights, we're going to hold on that till we get closer to the runway. I'm looking for taxiway Charlie, which I think is up here. Taxiway Charlie, yep. Alright, so I'm going to step on the brakes just gently a little bit here and slow her down for the turn. We're going to start our turn a little bit past where you think you should. So, right there. There we go. If you want to add a little touch of thrust, I'm just going to use engine 2 here. I don't need a whole lot of speed here. There we go. Back down to idle. We do have some other aircraft here. I see some sort of looks like a Cessna Citation there on the right. Alaska Airlines over there. Mount Hood in the background over there. Isn't that pretty? So you want to watch your taxi speed as you're taxiing here. You don't want to get faster than 30 knots. So that's kind of max speed for this. So as we're getting ready to take off here, we're going to go over to our flight control panel. We're going to click Nav and Profile. That's going to arm the nav and profile modes for your flight director and all that stuff. Okay, it's gonna fly your profile and the navigation computer course for what we're doing here.
Portland traffic, citation November 254 Sierra Bravo, Carolina Charlie 5, taxi 28 left via Charlie.
Alright, that's the guy that was behind us earlier. Okay, so as we're getting close to the runway, let's go ahead and turn on all of the exterior lights. So I'm going to do landing lights, taxi lights, runway turn-off lights, and strobes. Radar switch, we're going to turn it on. There's our weather radar, and there's our terrain radar. We're going to hold short here. Portland traffic, UPS 3511 departing runway 28 left. Portland. Okay, so we're clear for takeoff now. Put that down here. Let's go ahead and take the runway. So I'm going to give her some thrust. A little bit more thrust on engines 2 and 3 than engine 1 so we can help in the turn. The throttles are looking a little bit like this. You see that? And one last check down the arrival end is clear. The departure end is clear. TCAS looks good. We're ready for takeoff. All right, we'll do a static takeoff today for this one. And make sure we align on the runway heading, which is 283. once we're on that runway heading, we're going to go ahead and stop. Alright, now I'm going to hold the brakes. My feet are on the brakes, see? Look. Okay, now here we go. Here's the takeoff procedure. We're going to run the engines up to about 40% N1. Make sure everything stabilizes. Okay, looking good. I'm going to click auto flight, and then I'm going to slowly increase the thrust. At around 70% in1, the autopilot will grab the auto throttles. Okay, brakes released, full forward stick pressure. Okay, thrust set. Okay, airspeed's alive. 80 knots clamp. I'm going to release the back pressure. I'm going to release the forward pressure on the stick. Okay. V1, hands off throttle on the stick. Rotate. Rotate nice and smoothly here. Okay, positive rate, gear up.
Portland traffic, November 254 Sierra Bravo, departing runway 28 left, Portland. Okay,
now we're gonna follow our flight director right here. Keep that dot right in the crosshairs. Portland traffic, UPS 3511 heavy is cleared to 28 left. Well, caution wake turbulence. Okay, we're flying our pitch 177. Okay, now climb thrust. We're going to slowly start pitching the nose down here. Follow the flight director. A little bit of downward trim. Good. Alright, let's keep that airspeed. Keep the airspeed. You want to climb at 177 pitch. V2 plus 10. And then once we get to our acceleration altitude, I'm pitching down to stay with that flight director. And a little bit of wind shift there. We're waiting for our acceleration altitude here. There it is, 250. So now we're going to pitch the nose down. Good. A little bit of forward trim. Alright. Speed checks, flaps retract. So let's go to the slat setting. Okay, now we're going to accelerate to our slat retract speed, which is SR on the PFD. I'm still flying manually. I don't have the autopilot on yet. Okay, speed check, slats retract. Slats coming up. Okay, and now we're going to take her up to 252.
Stabilizer motion.
Okay, there's our
Portland traffic,
flight director is
November
requesting a turn to the
Bravo,
left.
clear runway 28 left, turning south track. Yeah, Portland.
Alright, we'll fly her up to 10,000 feet. How's that? So basically, I'm looking down. I'm not looking out the window. I'm looking at the flight director in the right in front of me there, and I'm using the pitch and roll bars there to direct the flight. See that little dot where you see my wings and you see the dot in the center? That's where I want to put the nose, right on those crosshairs. All right. Now it's a little bit more roll. We're gonna put some more in. Okay, looking good. Okay, a little bit slow. We're gonna pitch the nose down a little bit. Yeah, we don't need no autopilot. Fly this thing by hand just fine. Okay, now I'm gonna turn on the autopilot, and you'll notice that it didn't do a whole lot when I set it on because we were already nice and trimmed out. It's gonna pitch the nose down now to our actual in-route climb speed, which is 347 knots, and it's gonna use pitch to maintain the airspeed. Constant power setting, but using pitch to control that. So one thing I am gonna do here is, and this is something that I just do, is I'm going to set the thrust limit down to the cruise setting because one complaint I have with the Rotate MD-11.
Portland traffic, we're looking for UPS 3511.
Yeah, go for 3511.
UPS 3511, just wanted to make sure, because we're just flying down here in Hillsborough and I'm monitoring VATSIM radar for traffic. We see you're still on Portland traffic frequency, and I imagine by now you should be on Unicom. Just wanted to make sure you caught it.
Yeah, I was going to swap over in a little bit. Thanks.
Yeah, have a good flight.
Okay. Wow. Wow, who's this guy? Telling me what frequency to be on. Do I have some ATC that just showed up or something? Let me see this. I don't have no idea who that guy was. That's us right here. Whatever. Anyway, as I was saying, I like to use the cruise thrust setting for climb because one of my biggest complaints with the Rotate MD-11 is the high altitude climb performance. What is this guy doing here? Alright, well.
Tail traffic, citation number 254 Sierra Bravo, passing level 130, climb 320, approximately 10 miles off track, trekking 180 until track with flight plan. Seattle.
Alright, well, that's that guy there. He got a little close to us, but whatever. Anyway, yeah, for the third time now. Yeah, you're right. There's no reason for a bro to be doing all that hall monitor. No kidding. Who the hell are you? Who asked you what frequency I should be on? I'll be on with a frequency I want. Man, get out of here. Whatever. There's always gonna be that one guy, right? Okay, for the fourth time now. I think that the high altitude climb performance of the Rotate MD-11 is really, really excessive. Okay, this thing will go 4,000 or 5,000 feet a minute with a pretty heavy load, and that's just not right. So I'm working with those guys. I've been in contact with the people who make this thing. I'd like to work with them to try to fix that, but in the meantime, to mitigate it, I just used a cruise thrust setting for climbing out, so I get a more realistic climb gradient. Otherwise, this thing just gets up to cruise up to 10 minutes, which is just ridiculous. MD-11's good, but it's not that good. So yeah, that's why I use cruise thrust. But if you don't want to mess around with that, just use climb thrust, which you're going to just climb way faster than you really should be able to. All right, so we're climbing right now. Let's go ahead and do our after takeoff checklist. So landing gear is up, lights out. Spoiler handle is disarmed. Auto brakes are off. Flaps and slats are up. Flap takeoff selector is flaps 15. EAD is checked. No alerts. Blue's fine. Exterior lights. Let's go. Landing lights, taxi lights, and runway turn-off lights are all off. And we're to the line. Altimeters will be at 18,000 feet, which is actually right now. So now we're just going to click down and go altimeter standard. And after takeoff checklist is complete. And don't forget to reset your standby altimeter. And we are on course, guys. Gotta get a couple screenshots. yeah. That's sexy. Let's go. PDX1. Let's see, can we get some more? Let's get some more good screenshots here. That's a good one. There we go. Okay, climbing through 212. 212 for 350. And we can monitor our climb performance here with the performance page. And it will tell us how many miles to go to top climb. And approximate time that we'll get there. So we're at 2050, so it's saying about 5 minutes we'll get to top climb. Alright, so we no longer need terrain radar because there's nowhere close to terrain, so we'll set that guy up there. Back onto weather, just like us. Do I have the, honestly, I don't, is there more than one? I have whatever came with the Rotate MD-11 when I bought it. It already had a UPS library, so I didn't get any more. Are there other ones? Let me know where they're at if you do, because I'd like more accurate tail numbers on the side if I can get them. Beautiful out here. Oh, I don't have that. Here, let me show you what I got. It says worldwide services on there, so I'm assuming that I have it. Okay, climbing to flight level 301 to 350. Okay, I'll check that out. Thanks for the tip on that. I wasn't even aware that there were other paint jobs available. Alright, climbing through flight level 320 for 350 now. So far so good on this flight. Everything's gone well. The departure was nice. I enjoyed flying that by hand. I usually fly it up to about 10,000 feet and let the autopilot take over from there.
Altitude.
1,000 to go. Alright, we got altitude capture coming up here. Wow, it kind of blew through that one, didn't it? That was not a very smooth altitude capture, was it? There we go. So, now that we're at cruise, I'm going to go ahead and turn this back to automatic. And now you see everything is nice and magenta again, which is what we want. We are now settled in cruise, so let's see how long we got to go. So here is us. Got a FedEx MD-11 coming out of Seattle, not too far ahead of us, at 39,000 feet, so they must be pretty lightly loaded. Looks like we do have ATC in LA. That'd be nice when we get there. So estimated in 1 hour and 22 minutes. Let's see if that jives with our FMC. So, yeah, hour and 20, if it's more or less correct, yeah. So while we're up here at cruise, a couple things we need to be doing is checking our fuel. So for example, let's go look at this waypoint coming up. Puts, right? All right, so at Put's intersection, we should have, according to our flight plan, let's take a look at the flight plan. We should have 45.5 thousand pounds of fuel aboard when we cross the intersection. We'll take a look at it now. Looks like we're quite a bit over, so maybe we were a little bit too generous with the fuel planning. But we're going to cross that intersection in 1 minute, and according to our flight plan, we should only have 45.5 on board. I'm going to tell you right now, we're about 2,000 pounds over that, which is fine. It's better to have more fuel than not enough, but this is something you should do every flight. Check every couple waypoints to make sure that your fuel planning is good, and if it's not, then you know that you need to do something different with your fuel planning. Maybe SimBrief is overestimating your fuel burn. Maybe the payware aircraft you're using doesn't have accurate fuel burn. It could be any number of things, but you'll start seeing a trend, and you can start making adjustments to the way you plan your fuel so that you don't have too much weight on board. There's no real need to have, for example, 28,500 pounds of fuel landing at Ontario. If that's accurate, that's way too much. So something's not right here with the fuel planning, and we need to adjust it. So we're crossing Puts here. And at Puts, 45.5. We just crossed it with 47,000. So we're 1,500 pounds heavy as of right now. Just something to keep in mind. quiet flight right now. Let's see, we'll take a look at VATSIM radar, see if there's anything changed. Nope. Just got this, enemy MD-11 up there, 4,000 feet above us. I don't think we're gonna catch up to him, but pretty fun that we're not too far apart. And he's going down to LA and we're going down to Ontario. We'll both be talking ATC before long. I wonder if we can turn on some music here. Flying music. There we go. Flying music for you guys. You see that other MD-11 out there somewhere. Oh, look at that! Look what I found. The other MD-11. Oh yeah, there it is. He's not too far ahead of us. There he is. It's cool. Looks like he's got Pratt Whitney engines on his. And he's heading to Los Angeles. 4,000 feet higher than we are. Yeah, Jeffrey. Just kind of cruising right now. Sit back and relax in here. Everything was beautiful departure out of PDX. Everything went great. Ran through all the checklists, no problems. He's doing 452. We're doing 469. I wonder. You know what? You know what? Let's see if we can gain some on this ground. We have a lot of extra fuel on board right now. Let's push him up a little bit. Let's take it up to Mach 0.85 and see if we can catch up to this FedEx guy a little bit. We gotta burn some fuel anyway, right? Alright, new cruise speed Mach 0.85, and that's a manual entry. And how you can tell... Oh! You did, so you're doing... It's this guy over here, right? Oh, actually, this guy here is actually flying out of Seattle, I believe. Seattle to LAX. Let me look. Yeah, he's doing Seattle to LAX. So we're doing PDX to Ontario. But I still want to catch him. So now we pushed our speed up to about 475 knots ground speed. Let's see if we can. Let's see if we can catch up. What's his call sign again? FedEx 982. All right. Well, let's let him know we're after him. Message FedEx 982. See if we can catch this guy. Let's see. I wonder if it'll do it. Just for fun. Let's see. 0.855. That's about as max as we're gonna get out of this thing. And I'm really actually, that's kind of dangerous because I'm flirting with the barber pole here. So we don't have a lot of margin. If there's like a big wind shift or something like that, we could overspeed the aircraft. But hey, you know what? Let's have some fun. We're real close to MMO right here, so. As a reminder, anything in white is a user manual edit, and anything in magenta is what the aircraft is trying to do, right? So it wants to fly like 0.83 Mach based on our cost index, but we are manually putting in 0.855, which turns it white. Alright, that's about as fast as I care to go here. That's really pushing stuff. Alright, let's see if we can catch up to that guy. doing 451. We're doing 473. That's about as good as I'm going to get it with the wind that we have coming off the nose. What is his flight plan anyway? Yeah, he's on an entirely different flight plan anyway. So we're flying the Q11. He's on the Q7. Why does it say 330? Yeah, I think I'm good here. Well, we could try heading up to 370 to see if we get a little better, maybe better winds up there. Let's see here. What can we do? Let's try 370 to see if we get a little better, ground speed. Maybe the wind's a little bit lighter up there. All right, crew. Let's take it up to 370. See what we get out of that. I'm not sure if this is going to get us better better winds or not.
Altitude.
1,000 to go. Oh, he replied to us here. I would say the wind is no better up here. In fact, I think it's worse. Hey, at least we can track him on our TCAS a little bit better now. Now that we're within 2,000 feet of him, we can see him on TCAS. So we'll stay up at 370. Okay, crew, we're at 370 now. And now we have the FedEx MD-11 on TCAS, so we can kind of monitor our progress in relation to him a little bit better. Hey, Blast Rocket, how you doing, man? We're just cruising down Ontario from PDX. So far, so good. We climbed up to 370 because I'm trying to have a little race with this FedEx MD-11 off our starboard nose over here. Right now, we've got about 20 knots airspeed on him. I pushed it up to about as fast as we can go safely, and I want to see if we can beat that guy down to SoCal. He's over here right now. MD-11 day on Bad Sim, huh? What's better, Microsoft Flight Simulator or X-Plane? Okay, I've had this conversation a few times on here, and I'll give you my opinion. So, if you're looking for eye candy, I would say Microsoft Flight Simulator is one of the absolute most beautiful flight sims I've ever seen in my life. I look at screenshots of Microsoft Flight Simulator in real life, and I actually have to stop and really stare at it to find out which one's real. It's that good. MSFS is absolutely beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. The clouds, the terrain, the planes, it's awesome. Now, here's where I think Flight Sim sucks. The flight models are just not that good. To me, it's an arcade simulator in comparison to X-Plane. The ground handling, the ground maneuvering, it just feels so fake and like there's no momentum and there's no inertia. Like that TFDI MD-11, when you taxi that thing, it looks like you're taxiing like a go-kart. It's just ridiculous. You don't feel the weight of the aircraft at all on the ground. The ground-to-air interface, I think, is garbage. The way the planes fly, very twitchy, very crisp. There's no momentum. There's no feeling of inertia when you play Microsoft Flight Simulator. That is my personal opinion. Now, this is where I think X-Plane is better. It simulates the feeling of a heavy airplane a lot better. I can feel the weight of the plane through the controls in X-Plane. I can feel the inertia when you're making a turn on the ground with your nose wheel steering. I think the physics and the flight modeling in X-Plane is way better. Now, visually, no contest. Like, look at this. This train sucks. Okay. This is but the clouds, they suck. However, when I'm playing this game, I want to fly a plane. I don't want to be looking at the scenery the whole time. Like, I'm not out here looking at the mountains and the trees and everything. Oh wow, look how pretty that is down there. I don't care about that because I'm trying to fly a plane here. So X-Plane puts the effort into what I think I want to get out of it, and that's flying. But you know, what do you want? You want eye candy? Go with Microsoft Flight Simulator. You want more options for scenery, for airplanes, for payware? Microsoft Flight Simulator. You want better flight modeling and flight dynamics? X-Plane 12. They say that 2024 is going to be better. How do you know? I mean, I'll believe it when I see it. I have no intention of buying it anytime soon because it's probably going to be kind of crappy on release. So we'll wait and see. I seriously doubt it. Everything that I've seen so far for Flight Simulator 2024 is that they're putting way more time and effort into stuff that I don't give a crap about. Pilots walking around, people on the outside of the plane. I don't care about that. That's not why I'm playing this game. So, you know what I mean? Put the time into what we're here for, flying, not eye candy and extra stuff. That's my opinion. We'll see. We'll see when it comes out. Maybe it is going to be a better flight model. I'd be surprised though. what yoke do I use? I have a Honeycomb Alpha and a Honeycomb Bravo setup. So I got the Honeycomb Alpha yoke and a Honeycomb Bravo throttle quadrant, and I have some Cytec Pro rotor pedals that I've had for like 15 years. They still work, so not looking to replace those anytime soon. Well, you can get yourself a whole task, sure. Do you, before you go buy 2024, do you have something else to use first? Do you have 2020? I'd stick with that for a while. I gave it a few months to mature. I'm pretty sure that this 2024 is going to be pretty rough when it first comes out. So don't. I'd save your money. Give it a minute. Let it mature a little bit. Oh, man. Go figure. We just lost our ATC. Alright. Well, we'll be definitely talking to them. 12805. Once we get down there, let's get ready for that. 12805. For later. Yeah, April's probably a good idea. That'll give them a few months to work out some of the initial bugs that you're going to get when it comes out. April's good. Alright, I think I'm going to give up on this race with this FedEx MD-11. I'm noticing that our courses are starting to deviate a bit. He's heading more due south and we're not. So let's stop pushing our plane so hard. I'm going to go back to FMS speed. And you'll notice that we're back in magenta. The throttles are going to come back a little bit. And we're going to slowly decelerate back to 0.834 Mach, which is the Mach that's, intended with this cost index of 91. It was fun while it lasted, but we're just going different directions now. No, you know what? I haven't done it in a while. I haven't actually flown the plane at cruising altitudes. Let's do that for a minute.
Autopilot.
See how it feels. Okay, it's fine. Very twitchy with very twitchy in the nose. That's to be expected with the small tail that we have on here. All right, we'll turn the autopilot back on. There we go. I mean, if I had to, I could. Oh, what's this? Oh, okay, we got another aircraft up here. Delta Airlines 737-800. Wonder where he's going. Okay, so here's a Delta flight. He's out of San Diego, heading up to Seattle. Cool. Passed pretty close by. At 360, and we're at 370. We should have another 737 passing us here pretty soon from Santa Ana going up to Seattle at 380, so 1,000 feet above. And that's that aircraft right there. Oh, Mad Dog, huh? Your MD-80, what? You know, I don't know that I've ever flown an MD-80 in all my years of doing flight sims. I just never got around to it. Looks like a fun plane to fly. I just never got around to it. And there's the Alaska Airlines 737 that we saw. Oh, we need to put our shades on, huh? What is it you like about the MD-80 so much? What's the thing that it does that's just so good for you? Yeah, I hear you. It's got those little McDonnell Douglas quirks in it, right? Yeah, it looks like it'd be a fun plane to fly. Now, on X-Plane, what is the best? Is there a good payware MD-80 out there? What would be a good one to try if I wanted to get into that? Oh, oh, the rotate guys have an MD-11, MD-80. Is it been updated for X-Plane 12, or is it like an X-Plane 11 port over? Okay. When was the last time that it had been updated? To your knowledge. .23. Okay. Alright, looks like we have a ground controller, an ATIS at Ontario. So the ATIS is on 12425. So let's put that on a radio stack, 12425. And I'm going to turn VHF2 on.
Runway assignment and
Oh, here we go. We're already getting it.
direction. Advise on initial contact. You have information Tango.
Tango. Let's write that down right now, just so we have a baseline weather.
Ontario International Airport HS information Tango 2053 Zulu. Wind 240 at 9 gusts 16. Visibility 10. Few clouds at 12,000. Few clouds at 25,000. Temperature 36. 2.14. Altimeter 29902. ILS. Area navigation in use. Runway 26 right. Landing and departing runway 26 right. Notices to air mission.
Okay.
Runway 26 left. Gator closed. Pilots rethink runway assignment sent.
Alright, so that weather is about almost an hour old, so we'll want to kind of listen into that again. But right now it looks like wind is 240 at 9, gusting 16. So we may have to add a little bit of gust additive to our approach speed stuff. We'll check it again, probably about 20 minutes, to get an updated one. And the ground controller is on 12190. We'll put that in here. What are some of the quirks? Tell me about the quirks that would be worth mentioning. Oh, well, laggy auto throttle, that's not completely unheard of. I mean, a lot of auto throttles tend to be a bit laggy. So, I mean, the MD-11 auto throttle is not particularly fast either. I've had to intervene on more than one occasion where it was just taking its sweet time, you know, getting into the loop there, but it's no big deal. we right now? What is this lake called? What is this? Oh, Mono Lake. I know where this is at. I've been around here a million times. Oh, that's Mono Lake. Oh, so Yosemite should be around here somewhere. I wonder if that's El Capitan right down there. Look at that. I bet you that's El Capitan right there. Yeah. Yeah, so that's Mono Lake. And that right there is probably El Capitan right there. Let's look. I think we just flew over Yosemite right now. Yeah, so, where are we? Why is it taking so long to update? Dang it. I'm almost certain that we just flew over El Capitan. Yep. Yeah, I'm pretty sure we did. That's cool. Okay, I see top of descents now on our screen here. Alright, so that little arrow pointing down means top of descent, and that's going to be 136 nautical miles at 2208 Zulu. So we got about 17 minutes to top of descent. Probably about 9 minutes we'll start doing our descent checklist and go over some of that stuff. Yeah, I wouldn't lose any sleep over that. that note, that CG disag, doesn't mean much. It means for if you're gonna take off again, you might have some issues, but I wouldn't worry about the CG disag message right now. It's really just more of a informational thing. I mean, you've already landed. Who cares at that point, right? It probably has something to do with this here. So let's take if we take a look at this. This is a weight and balance chart, and I don't know how accurate this is. Rotate came up with this. I don't know where they got the information from, but let's see if our landing weight is going to be 454, and our CG is less than 20. Yeah, it's because if you were to take off again, your takeoff CG would be kind of out of limits. So that's why you get that disset, because you're kind of in this area now. And you would just need to rebalance your load for that lower weight, if that were the case. Again, don't worry about it. It's not a big deal. It's a CG disag for takeoff again, not for once you've landed. It makes no difference. Oh yeah, UPS too. UPS and FedEx are both phasing out the MD-11s pretty quickly here, and I think they're just buying more 767s on the UPS side to compensate, because it can do 2/3 of what the MD-11 can do at half the cost. So it's, you know, not a bad gig, I guess. Sad to say it. Oh well. We used to fly them virtually though, right? Yeah, so the flight factor 767 and the 757, they're good. I have the 757. But they're just dated. You could tell they were made for a much older sim and ported over, and there's a lot of things that need to be fixed on them that I just don't think they have the motivation to do. Who's this guy? What is this thing? Wow, this guy's got 12,000 hours on VATSIM. What the heck? Jeez. That's a lot. 12,000 hours on VATSIM. Good gracious. Here I am over here with 2,700 thinking I'm doing good. Alright, there's that other guy. Mr. 12,000 hours on VATSIM guy. Jeez. Imagine being on VATSIM for 12,000 hours. I don't even know how you do that. Yeah, I was, so me too. Me too. So I flew on VATSIM for years, and my last flight was in 2011, I think. I think it was 2011. Actually, you know what? Yeah. Oh, you know what? Let's check. I got a couple minutes. Let's take a look here. Let's see. Member, no. My statistics. So, look at that. I got a lot of flights in, and then 2000. No, let's sort it by date. Can we do that? Last seen. 2011. Yeah. 2011. So I stopped flying on VATSIM around 2011 and did other things for a long time. And I recently came back to it all. So I had a 13-year break between then and now. So that kind of explains that. I started in 2004 as well. 2003, 2004. And I left in 2011. And now I'm back. Alright, let's start doing our descent and approach checklist planning, okay, as part of our tutorial. So landing data, let's take a look at that. We are looking at a landing approach speed of 163 right now, but we have a long runway. Our landing weight's about 457, so that's kind of fast, but we've got the length of runway to handle it. So if we take a look at that, here's the airport information for Ontario. We're planning on landing on 26 right, and I'd like to try to make the kilo exit. So 163 is kind of fast, but I've been doing this a long time, so I'm pretty sure we can make it. We'll use auto brakes minimum and max reverse thrust, and then I'll go manual braking as necessary to make that kilo turn off. That's what I'd like to do. Cross kilo, cross 26 left, get on Sierra 8, and to the ramp, which is over here. Now, Quebec would be even better, but that's really asking a lot at that landing speed. And I don't really want to use flaps 50 because those are some crappy landings. So we'll shoot for kilo today, and we'll backtrack on the 26 left to CR 8 over to the ramp. Looking at our arrival, we are on the Ziggy 8 arrival with the Thule, what do you call it? Thule transition. I'm expecting to cross flavor at 1,4,000 at 250 knots. And then we should be getting altitude assignments by ATC accordingly. Now, it's been my experience with SoCal Approach. They tend to leave you extremely high as you come over the San Bernardino mountain range here, and you gotta dive down to get the ILS. So let's see how high they keep us today. We may have to prompt him to kind of get us lower. We're gonna be looking for the ILS 26 right approach, so we're gonna be going to pick up Pettus, which is the initial approach fix. At Pettus, we need to be at about 4,000 feet, 4,300 feet. And then we'll fly a 3-degree glide slope all the way down to 26 right. In the event of a missed approach, we're going to fly, climb to 2,800 feet, then a climbing left-hand turn 5,400 feet, direct to the Paradise VOR and hold. And we'll continue to climb in the hold to 5,400 feet. That's over here. The decision altitude is going to be at that 1,132 barrow. The minimum descent altitude is going to be 1,300 feet from our direction of flight coming over the San Gabriel and San Bernardino mountain ranges. So that's going to be within 25 nautical miles of the Paradise VOR. So let's go ahead and put Paradise into NavRad right now. I'll put that on VOR 2. Paradise. So 11,300 feet for the MDA and Barrow. Oops. I want 1132 Barrow. There you go. So, approach briefing is complete. Radar, let's tilt it down 5 degrees. Windshield anti-ice is not going to be required. Decision altitude, 1,132 Barrow. The MDA is going to be 11,300 within 25 nautical miles of Paradise. That's set. The seatbelt signs are on, even though it doesn't really matter because we're flying a cargo. And we are ready to set. We're ready to head down here. Looks like we need. Oops. 26 nautical miles to top of descent. Let's go ahead and set the altitude down. We'll put it at 10,000 feet for now. There we go. Alright, crew. We're just waiting for top of descent. Again, about 20 nautical miles, and we'll start down. at that. Edwards Air Force Base, right there. We'll be passing by it pretty close. There's some over there. Okay, crew, stand by. Top of descent should be in about a minute. 5 or less. 4 nautical miles. So just before the top of descent, which is going to be triggered here, we're going to get a little thing blinking out here on our flight mode annunciator called vertical alert, which is letting you know, like, hey, autopilot's about to start down, or it's time to start heading down. Vertical alert, there you go. And as soon as we hit our top of descent, you'll see a profile bar come over here on the nav display. This is telling you that the next altitude restriction on the flight plan is going to be at Flavor, 14,000 feet. So it's going to fly down to 14,000 feet and hold until the next waypoint. But we've set the flight control panel down to 10,000 feet. This is what it's going to fly to it in profile mode. So the next thing we need to do as we manage this descent is keep our aircraft right here on this magenta diamond. So what that means is this white line, pretend this is where we're actually at in the air, and this magenta diamond is where we're supposed to be to maintain the correct glide path, the descent rate, and all that stuff. And this is computer generated. Anyway, yeah, computer generated by the profile and the FMC. If you see the diamond above this white line, that means we're actually below the glide path. And you'll watch this here on the performance page. It gives you your path error. So right now we're 70 feet low on our profile, but the autopilot will attempt to correct for that. And see, it's already coming in. Okay, looking on here, we're dead perfect on our profile right now, so we don't need to do anything. Now, if you look here, you'll notice that the diamond is deviating down, which means we're actually high on the profile. So if you look over here, you'll see that it says we're 198 feet, 200 feet high, which means we're higher, we're above the profile that we want to be at to keep constant rate descent. So the autopilot will attempt to increase the rate of descent accordingly to try to get that diamond back into the center. And if it can't do it, if it gets to the point where it can't do it without adding drag, it will tell you add drag here. So you see this deviation. I wouldn't worry about it too much yet. When it gets down to here, you should be concerned. Right now, give the autopilot time to correct, and it usually can do so. There you go. It's already doing it now. See that? See the path error? It's already coming down. So we're 200 feet high, but decreasing, which means this diamond is going to come back to the white, and we're going to be back on our descent. You may notice that our airspeed is creeping up just a little bit here. This is what we should be descending at, and this is what we're at. So at some point here, we're probably going to be asked to add some drag in here, and we'll do that with the speed brakes. And you'll get an alert right here when that happens. But before you start throwing in spoilers all the time, kind of wait for it to tell you, because that'll let you know. There it goes. Add drag. See it blinking there? It says that, hey, I'm at idle and I can't slow down. You need to help me out. So what we're going to do here is we're just going to add just a little bit of speed brake in. And the second that goes away, we take it out. There it goes. Speed brake retracted. Alright, I don't think we have ATIS set at, I don't know if the ATIS is still there. It is. Let's listen to it one last time to get the altimeter setting.
Temperature 36. 2.14. Altimeter 29990.
Okay, 2990.
ILS. Area navigation in use. Runway 26 right. Landing and departing runway 26 right. Notices to air mission. Runway 26 left. Hangar closed. Pilots rethink runway assignments and hold short instructions. Advise on initial contact. You have information uniform.
Uniform, okay.
Ontario International Airport ATIS information uniform 2153 Zulu. Web 250 at 11. Visibility 10. Few clouds at 12,000. Few
Okay.
clouds at 25,000.
Okay, so information uniform is active. The altimeter is 2990. The gust seems to have gone away. So the wind is actually more down the center of the runway than it was before. So that's basically 11 knots right on the nose, which is great. And our altimeter is 2990. And as you notice on our checklist here, we're coming up to 18,000 feet, which is our transition altitude. And we'll reset the altimeter to 2990. And I should be getting a call from SoCal Approach here at any minute. Actually kind of surprised that I haven't gotten it already. We'll see. Okay, transition altitude 2990. So we're going to go 2990 there and 2990 on the standby. So altimeters set and cross-checked. 2990. Oops. Let's go ahead and put this guy back on terrain. Let's see when it starts to paint some terrain here. Any second I'm expecting a ping from SoCal Approach. So 10,000 feet, we'll execute our turning on all the lights, and that'll be the end of the descent approach checklist.
Clipper. Direct Clipper, Spirit X149er. Delta 8863, did you get an approach assignment yet?
Yes, ILS 24 right, surface transition.
Roger, thank you.
SoCal approach UPS 3511 heavy with you, setting 14000. We have information uniform, Ontario.
PS 3511 Heavy, SoCal approach, thanks for Ontario. And say approach requested.
ILS 26 right.
PS 3511, expect that.
Okay, well, I got a little proactive here and I decided to reach
SoCal
out to
approach, Southwest
SoCal
3092 out of
approach because I figured
1.3, climbing
he's probably
5000,
busy.
Arnett Delray.
So,
Southwest 3092,
No
SoCal
problem.
departure radar contact, climb and maintain 13,000.
I maintain 13,000, Southwest 3092.
Spirit Wings 49, climb via the Orca 5, departure, accept, maintain 15,000. LA Center close, radar service terminated, frequency change approved.
so you'll notice here that we have some ILS information coming in on our primary flight display. Whenever you're within 25 nautical miles of your arrival airport, it will tune the ILS frequency of the runway that you put in your FMC. So that's why we're getting this. Now, we don't have the localizer telescope yet because we're not lined up with those receivers, but you can see there's our DME to the runway.
SkyWest 3072, traffic alert, 12 o'clock, 1 mile. Altitude indicates 10,000, descending to FedEx Heavy. Turn left at 8270.
That's the MD-11 we were racing earlier. Alright, I'm going to add in a little bit of speed brake here because we're getting a little fast.
SkyWest 3072, traffic no factor, climb
drag.
unrestricted, LA Center closed, radar service terminated, frequency change approved.
On-site device storage request, SkyWest 3072. Yep.
See you later.
Here, 6 kilo off, I've got field sight, I'll just take the visual.
King Air, 6 Kilo Alpha, roger, clear, visual approach, runway 27.
So I'm going to go ahead and raise the speed
final,
brakes and let's go slats
5
extend.
miles greater.
Clear visual 27, 5 miles or greater for final, King Air 6 kilo off.
Alright, let's turn the music off now. We're done with that.
King Air 6 Kilo Alpha and report your base turn.
Hold it.
Okay, still a little fast here. Let's get some more speed brake in.
Southwest 3092, turn left, clear direct Clipper.
Left direct Clipper, Southwest 3092.
Trying to get that airspeed to 250 knots. Alright, speed brake, retract. Alright, now let's see what this guy does. I have a feeling we're going to get kept
UPS
there. Listen,
3511, descend and maintain 8,000.
down to 8,000 UPS 3511. Okay, I'll give him some credit here. He didn't forget about us, so
Southwest
we're clear down
3092,
to
climb via Orca 5, departure, accept, maintain 15,000. LA Center closed, radar service terminated, frequency change approved, so long.
Climb via the Orca 5, accept, maintain 15,000, and we'll switch over to Unicon. Have a great rest of the weekend, Southwest 3092.
See you later. Delta 8863, reduce speed to 250. Correction, reduce speed to 180 for spacing.
Slow to 180 for Delta 8863 for space.
Delta 312 contacts LA Tower 120.95.
Contact LA Tower 120.95, Delta 312.
alright, we're getting close enough to
FedEx
10,000 feet.
982 heavy, fly heading 070.
that's our guy.
Descend and maintain 3,600, vectors to final.
That's the guy we were racing.
Heading 070, 36, or flight level 36, FedEx 92.
Alright, all the lights are coming on, so runway, taxi, runway turn off, or on. Okay, descent approach checklist complete.
And 103 heavy, SoCal approach. LA altimeter 29092, ident.
So these are the San Bernardino Mountains out in front of us. This is where I live real close to this area, so this is just like home.
Yeah, 103 heavy, radar contact 5 miles northeast of the Paradise, VORC altitude.
Alright, 103, passing flight level 210.
103, descend via the Angel 4 rifle. That circus cleared ILS, runway 25 left approach.
Oh yeah, the Angel 4 rifle there. That's 25 left.
How's Nico?
EPS 3511 heavy, reduce speed to 170.
Okay, we'll make it attempt at that 170 knots UPS 3511. All right, he wants us to slow that way the hell down.
Southwest 3377.
Condor 67 is
Arrival for Long Beach.
We can do it, but it's gonna be a little rough. So
5,000.
let's go flaps 15.
677, subcut approach radar contact, climb and maintain 13,000.
170 knots.
Maintain 1,000.
loud.
Condor 667.
Southwest 3377. Squawk guide down.
Squawk eye down, Southwest 3377.
Departure JetBlue 310 with you level 5,000.
JetBlue 310 radar contact, climb
All
and
right,
maintain
let's go flaps 28.
13,000.
He wants to slow down a lot. So
13,000 JetBlue 310.
King Air 6 Kilo Alpha, contact Lickberg Tower 118.3. Southwest 3377, radar contact 14 miles east of the Paradise View, RC altitude.
Southwest 3377, descending through 13,000.
I'm not
on
quite
business.
sure why he slowed us up this much, but
Southwest 3377, roger, Long Beach altimeter 2990, at mids cleared, ILS runway 30 right approach.
Stabilizer motion.
Long Beach altimeter 2990 at mids cleared ILS 30 approach. Southwest 3377.
American 1517, spot 2 Burbank, request taxi.
American 1517, give me a call in about 30 minutes. UPS 3511, heavy, descend and maintain 4,300.
down to 4,300 UPS 3511. All right, crew, clear down to 4,300. We are still really high here, but I think we can make it. He does have us slowed down a lot. We got flaps 28 in. We got plenty of drag. I think we can make
UPS
this.
3511, heavy, at Pettis, cleared ILS runway 26 right approach.
Clear 26 right approach. Correction, cleared ILS 26 right approach at Pettis, UPS 3511.
Stabilizer motion.
Who else was calling?
Southwest 2047 requesting pushback on a taxiway Alpha information echo.
Southwest 2487, SoCal, departure, push on Alpha Proof, face north.
Push approved face
Alright,
north.
I'm gonna go ahead and go vertical speed. We need to get down.
8863, 5
Typical,
miles
they
in
kept us
trail,
really high, so
312, report that traffic in sight.
Stabilizer motion.
yeah, I know.
we do
I
have
hear
the
you.
traffic for Delta 8863. Delta 8863, maintain visual separation from that traffic. Contacts LA Tower 120.95.
Okay, crew. So we're on an ILS intercept course here. So I'm gonna click the approach and land button here. That will arm the ILS to grab the localizer and the glides up when it can.
Unrestricted, LA Center closed, radar service terminated, frequency change approved.
Alright, let's go gear down because we need some more drag here.
Whiskey heavy, SoCal departure, radar contact, say altitude.
Let's arm the spoilers. And let's go auto brakes minimum.
Passing altitude 2,000, heading 5,000. Correction, we are now 3,000.
Gilbert Whiskey
Okay.
heavy, climb and maintain.
Before landing checklist, let's start on that.
Closed, radar service terminated, frequency change approved.
Okay, localizer capture. You can see it coming in right here. Landing gears down, 4 green, spoiler handles, arms, auto brakes minimum. Flaps and slats. Let's go flaps 35.
Condor 667 heavy.
Let's go
climb
FMS speed.
unrestricted, LA Center closed, radar service terminated, frequency change approved.
Flaps 35 set, FMS speed, vertical speed mode. We're way above the glide slope here, but you can see it coming in. Let's keep it going down.
637, thank you. Yes, 3511, runway 26 right, clear to land.
Clear land 26 right, UPS 3511. Okay.
American calling, you were stepped on, say again.
American 137 heavy, descending flight level 240, 160, 777-300.
American 137, SoCal, approach, you're on the Angel, correct?
Yep, Angel 4.
Roger.
Okay, Altimeter's cross-check, 29990. EAD is check green box. Landing clearance, clear to land. Before landing checklist complete.
2500.
Okay. Still trying to grab the glide slope here.
Heavy.
There we go, glide slope.
Maintain 5,000.
Alright, we got it, guys. We were able to correct for the controller keeping us a little high here. So we're good now. I'm gonna go ahead and take over the aircraft now. So we're gonna go
Spirit Wings 814, 3,500, 2,500.
auto throttle off.
Wings 814, so got departure radar contact.
Autopilot off.
Maintain 13,000, passing
My aircraft.
4,000, direct clipper.
Climb and maintain flight level 130 and passing 4,000 direct clipper. Spirit Wings 814.
American 137, heavy squawk 5317.
5317 American. 137 heavy.
Okay, got a little bit of gusty wind up here.
103, heavy.
Missed approach altitude, 5,400.
November 106 for X-ray. We would like to full stop in. We are west of NA, requesting full stop.
Definitely a little gusty out here today. Oh yeah, I feel it. Big time.
Hasn't it?
Woo!
Gusty,
gusty.
5556, information Delta on board, descending Angel 4 out of 22,000.
Okay, so anybody on frequency, there is an event starting at 4 p.m. local. To Los Angeles, and so I do have to close up because they'd like to quiet up the airspace. Standby 1, if you're on the ground, I'm going to have to close. And it looks
Very
like
gusty.
we've all been asked to close. American 137, heavy, closing up, radar service terminated, frequency change approved.
Okay, you're getting a little slow here, I'm correcting.
982, heavy, I got to close up, radar service terminated, frequency change approved.
Okay. Hold
Hold
on for dear life, guys. This thing's super gusty.
Change approved. And 103 of Bravo. Radar service terminated. Frequency change approved.
Uh-oh. I think I need to turn down my,
X-ray 1214. Frequency change approved. Spirit Wings 814. Radar service terminated. Frequency change approved.
landing.
Left 3377. Radar service terminated.
20, 10.
Okay, let nose down. Max reverse. Manual braking. Oof. That was way more gusty than what they were saying. Alright. Woo. And there's Kilo. And I think I need to turn down my my resolution a little bit here. I'm getting a lot of stutters. We'll stop here for a minute. Let's see if we can fix this scenery situation. Let's go. Let's take that down, and maybe that to there. Let's see what that does for us. It might be a little bit better. Okay, so we got down. That was kind of a rough landing, but there was a bit of stutters there. 358 feet per minute, not ideal. Let's go ahead and do our after landing checklist. So spoiler handle, up, disarmed, flaps and slats, up, retract, auto brakes, off, radar switch, off, landing lights, Taxi lights and strobes are off, and the runway turn-offs are off as well. Engine anti-ice is not required, and APU is on. And we'll work on the stab trim on our taxi in. So I'm going to start moving the stab down to 3 degrees, aircraft nose up. Okay. After landing checklist complete. Little stuttery there. I'm using an aftermarket payware, Ontario, and I think I had a little too high. I had the I had it set a little too high, and it was getting a little stuttery there. And here is taxiway Sierra, and we'll take this all the way into the UPS ramp. Yeah, that was a very firm touchdown, but there was also a lot of gusty wind here. So that, a lot of turbulence too. You saw the airspeed fluctuations. I was all over the place there, so that was not in the ATIS. Is that a tractor cutting the grass? Yes, it is. Wow. Well, that's pretty cool. Okay, our turn's coming up here. So again, we're doing 27 knots on the ground. That's a little fast. You're going to want to get on your brakes here because we don't want to be taking turns that fast in this thing. We'll skid the nose wheel. Okay, coming right. And coming left. And another right turn here.
Stabilizer.
Okay, here is our turn coming up. I think I missed the turn. I parked on a drainage ditch. Oops. Oh well. I got the wrong taxi line. Sorry about that. Don't do what I do there. Okay. Anyway, parking checklist. Transponder is off. Fuel switch is off. 3, 1, 2. Wing and engine anti-ice is not on. Windshield anti-ice is not on. Windshield defog off. Emergency power off. IRS switches off, off, off. Beacon light off. Wheel chocks. Let's go over here to the EFB and we're going to go ground power unit and wheel chocks are installed. Parking brake released. External power on. APU power off and APU off. Alright crew, that's it. That's your tutorial flight for the month. Other than me parking in the on the entirely wrong spot. I don't know what I was thinking there. We should be over here. This was a pretty good flight. Landing was a little rough, not my best, but I need to work on my FPS there on landing. I think I got some stuff turned up too high, so I'll fix that. But I hope you enjoyed the checklists and the procedures and all that stuff. And yeah, I'll catch you guys on the next one. Thanks so much for watching. I appreciate it. Bye-bye.